He may even identify himself with it and believe that he is what he appears to be.
Welcome to the NCE Study Guide. I created this study guide using ChatGPT and Notebook LM. So think of these modules as AI-powered audio flashcards. Each one of these 20 modules contains 10 mock questions, representing the kind of questions that you might encounter on the National Counseling exam. I created this primarily for myself, and I decided to make these available to anyone else who might benefit from this kind of study aid. But please note, while I have done my best to ensure that these modules align with NCE content, I encourage you to cross-reference them with trusted study guides and resources for the most accurate preparation. These modules are not affiliated with or endorsed by the NBCC or any official licensing board. So, with no further ado, here are your AI study buddies from Notebook LM. Enjoy.
Hey, welcome back for another deep dive to help prep for the NCE. You know, this exam can be tough.
Oh yeah, definitely lots of material to cover.
So today, we're going to try to make it fun, like a little game. Think of it as audio flashcards.
Exactly.
We're focusing on Module 16 this time, and guess what? A grad student helped us out with this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, use some AI magic to generate these practice questions. Pretty cool, huh?
Wow, very cool. Using AI to help us study for the NCE. I love it.
Me too. All right, so Module 16, this one's all about the core stuff, you know, the theories and concepts that make up the foundation of counseling.
Right, the bedrock, like Maslow's hierarchy, Freud's theories, different therapy approaches, the stuff that really shapes how we understand people and how we approach helping them.
Okay, so let's jump right into our first practice question. This is question 151. It asks, in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which level is focused on achieving one's full potential?
Yeah.
Here are the options. A, safety needs. B, esteem needs. C, self-actualization. D, physiological needs. So let's think about Maslow's hierarchy for a minute.
Right, it's like that pyramid we've all seen with the most basic needs at the bottom.
Exactly, like D, physiological needs.
Yeah.
Those are the essentials, right?
Yeah, the foundation, stuff like food, water, shelter, the things we absolutely need to survive.
Can't really focus on much else if you don't have those covered, right?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Then as we move up that pyramid, we get to safety needs.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, feeling secure and protected from physical harm, emotional abuse, even just the uncertainties of life.
It makes sense. You wouldn't be too concerned with things like creative pursuits or personal growth if you were constantly worried about your safety.
Exactly. You need that sense of security to be able to focus on higher level needs, and that brings us to esteem needs.
B, esteem needs. So this is about feeling good about yourself, right?
In a way, yeah. It's that need for recognition, respect, a sense of achievement, feeling like you're good at something, that you're valued, that you're making a difference in the world.
And that can be a powerful motivator.
For sure. But here's the thing about esteem. It's often tied to external validation, to what other people think of us.
Oh, I see. So it's that need for approval, for accolades, for those external markers of success.
Exactly. And that can be a bit of a trap because it means our sense of worth is dependent on others. And that's where self-actualization comes in.
Ah, see. The peak of the pyramid.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Right. This is about becoming the best version of yourself, fulfilling your unique potential, driven by internal satisfaction rather than external praise.
So it's not about seeking validation from others. It's about aligning your actions with your values, pursuing your passions, and constantly striving for personal growth, for the sheer joy of it.
Exactly. It's about becoming who you're meant to be, not for the applause, but because it feels right and true for you.
Okay, so going back to that question. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which level is focused on achieving one's full potential? What do you think?
The answer is C, self-actualization. That drive to become all you can be, to live a life that's truly meaningful to you.
And this is important for us as counselors
Because we can help our clients figure out where they are on this journey and support them as they strive to reach their full potential. Maybe they're stuck at the safety level because of trauma, or maybe they're chasing esteem because they haven't learned to value their own inner worth.
That's such a good point. Understanding Maslow's hierarchy can really shape how we approach therapy. Okay, let's move on to question 152. Which of the following is a characteristic of an effective therapeutic goal?
Okay, bring it on.
Is it A, broad and open-ended? B, specific, measurable, and time-limited? C, focused on the counselor's priorities? D, general enough to apply to multiple clients? What do you think about this one?
Well, goals are so important in therapy, right? They give us direction, they help us measure progress, they give the client something concrete to work towards.
Totally. But I've always found goal setting a bit tricky. Like I make these vague resolutions for myself, like I want to be more organized or I want to be less stressed. But then I'm like, okay, where do I even start with that?
I think we've all been there. Those kind of goals are like ships without rudders. They might set sail, but they're not going to reach any specific destination.
That's such a great analogy.
Effective goals, the kind that actually lead to change, need to be concrete and actionable.
So like be specific, measurable, and time limited.
Exactly. It's like that SMART framework you might have heard of: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Ah, yes, SMART goals. I've heard of that.
It's all about breaking those big, vague goals down into smaller steps that you can actually track and work towards. So instead of be more organized, it's create a weekly meal plan and grocery shopping list by the end of next month.
Oh, that's so much better. You have a clear action and a deadline.
Right. And because it's specific and measurable, you can track your progress and celebrate those small wins along the way.
And you can totally apply that to therapy.
Absolutely. A goal like improve communication is pretty vague, but something like practice using I statements during family conversations twice a week for the next month, that's much more actionable.
Wow, that's a great example. It gives the client concrete steps to take and a timeline to work with.
And it's definitely not focused on the counselor's priorities, because effective goals should always be about what the client wants to achieve.
Right, it's their journey.
Exactly. And it's not general enough to apply to multiple clients either, because therapy is all about individualizing treatment to meet each person's unique needs.
So to answer the question, which of the following is a characteristic of an effective therapeutic goal? What's the answer?
The answer is B, specific, measurable, and time limited. Those are the goals that really drive change, both in therapy and in life.
So true. Okay, let's dive into some Freud now. Question 153 asks, which concept is central to Freud's psychodynamic theory and refers to the mental processes that occur outside conscious awareness?
Oh, Freud.
Always an interesting one.
Here are the options. A, superego. B, ego. C, unconscious. D, conscious. So Freud, this guy gave us the idea of the mind as an iceberg, right? Right, that classic image. The tip of the iceberg is D, the conscious. What we're aware of at any given moment, our thoughts, perceptions, feelings that are front and center in our minds.
But lurking beneath the surface is...
C, the unconscious. The vast majority of the iceberg, all those repressed memories, desires, impulses, unresolved conflicts, the stuff that might be too painful or unacceptable to consciously acknowledge.
So it's like all that stuff that's simmering beneath the surface, potentially influencing our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without us even realizing it.
Exactly. Like, think about those slips of the tongue or those seemingly irrational reactions we sometimes have, or even those dreams that leave us feeling confused or unsettled. Freud believed these were glimpses into the unconscious, those hidden forces shaping our conscious experience.
Okay, so then what about the superego and the ego?
Right. So A, the superego is like our internalized moral compass, that voice of should and shouldn't, those rules and values we've learned from our parents' society culture that tell us how to behave.
Makes sense.
And the ego, B. The ego is the poor soul caught in the middle, trying to balance the demands of the id, our primal urges, with the constraints of the superego.
Oh, right. The id is all about pleasure and instant gratification.
Exactly. So the ego is the mediator, the negotiator, trying to find realistic and socially acceptable ways to satisfy our needs without violating our moral code.
I like that analogy. So the ego is like the peacekeeper trying to keep everyone happy.
Pretty much.
Okay, back to the question. Which concept is central to Freud's psychodynamic theory and refers to the mental processes that occur outside conscious awareness? What's the answer?
The answer is C, the unconscious. And as counselors, we need to be aware of how those unconscious forces might be playing out in our clients' lives, shaping their patterns of relating their coping mechanisms, their emotional experiences.
Wow, that's so deep. It adds a whole other layer to understanding our clients.
It really does. It's about seeing beneath the surface behavior and recognizing those deeper dynamics that might be at play.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and explore a different therapeutic approach with question 154. What is the primary goal of person-centered therapy?
I love person-centered therapy. It's so empowering.
Me too. All right, here are the options. A, challenging and changing distorted thoughts. B, helping clients achieve self-acceptance and growth. C, resolving unconscious conflicts. D, modifying maladaptive behaviors. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, person-centered therapy was developed by Carl Rogers, and it's all about creating a safe, non-judgmental space for clients to explore their true selves.
And to tap into their own inner resources for healing and growth, right?
Exactly. It's less about fixing the client and more about empowering them to become the best version of themselves. Rogers believed that every individual has an inherent capacity for growth and self-actualization.
So it's about creating the conditions where that natural drive towards wholeness can flourish.
Exactly. And that's where those core conditions come in empathy, genuineness, unconditional positive regard. The therapist provides a supportive and accepting presence, allowing the client to explore their thoughts, feelings, and experiences without judgment or pressure to change.
It's so different from a challenging and changing distorted thoughts, which is more like what you see in cognitive therapies like CBT.
Right, CBT is much more directive and focused on challenging those thought patterns. Person-centered therapy is about creating the space for the client to discover their own truths and their own solutions.
It's also not about resolving unconscious conflicts, which is more aligned with those psychodynamic approaches.
Exactly. Though person-centered therapy acknowledges the influence of the past, the focus is primarily on the present experience of the client.
And it's not just about de-modifying maladaptive behaviors, although that can be a byproduct of the therapeutic process.
Right. The primary focus is on fostering self-acceptance and facilitating personal growth.
Okay, so to answer our question, what is the primary goal of person-centered therapy? The answer is
B, helping clients achieve self-acceptance and growth. It's about empowering them to embrace their authentic selves and to live a life that's congruent with their values and aspirations.
I love that. It's so respectful of the client and their inherent worth and potential. All right, let's take a break there. We'll be back with more NCE practice questions in just a moment.
All right, welcome back to our NCE Deep Dive. You ready for more?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay, so question 155 is all about reinforcement schedules. It asks, which of the following is an example of a fixed ratio reinforcement schedule?
Ooh, reinforcement schedules. Let's see. A paycheck received every 2 weeks. B, a bonus given after every 10 sales. C, random prizes for attendance. D, a promotion given annually.
So this is a concept that can seem a little abstract, but it's actually all around us.
Right, like loyalty programs with buy 10 coffees, get 1 free. Classic reinforcement schedule.
Exactly. It's about understanding how rewards and consequences shape our behavior.
And it's not just about training dogs. It applies to humans, too.
Absolutely. Think about those frequent flyer programs or even just getting a gold star for doing a good job. It's all about reinforcement.
So let's look at these options. A paycheck received every 2 weeks. That's a reward for sure. But is it tied to a specific number of behaviors?
Not really. It's more about getting paid for working over a set period of time.
So that's not a fixed ratio schedule?
Nope. That's more like a fixed interval schedule. The reward is given after a fixed amount of time has passed.
Okay, so what about D, a promotion given annually?
Same idea. It's time-based, not behavior-based.
Got it. C, random prizes for attendance. That one seems a bit unpredictable.
Right. That's a variable schedule. The reward is given at random times or after a random number of behaviors.
Like a slot machine.
Exactly. You never know when you're going to hit the jackpot.
So that leaves us with B, a bonus given after every 10 sales.
That's our fixed ratio schedule. A specific number of behaviors, in this case sales, leads to a reward.
Okay, so the answer to question 155 is?
B, a bonus given after every 10 sales.
And knowing about these different reinforcement schedules can be really helpful in therapy.
Absolutely. We can use them to help clients increase desired behaviors, whether it's practicing relaxation techniques or working towards a specific goal.
It's like having another tool in our counseling toolbox.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to question 156. This one's about cultural sensitivity. It asks, what is the primary focus of multicultural counseling?
Such an important topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Here are the options. A, promoting assimilation into the dominant culture. B, addressing clients' cultural identities and experiences. C, avoiding discussions about cultural differences. D, using a standardized approach for all clients. Okay, so right off the bat, I think we can rule out D, using a standardized approach for all clients.
Yeah, definitely. One-size-fits-all therapy just doesn't cut it. Everyone is unique, and their cultural background shapes their worldview, their values, their experiences.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work.
Multicultural counseling recognizes that culture is an integral part of who we are. It influences how we see the world, how we communicate, how we experience emotions, how we cope with stress. It's everything.
So it's about meeting the client where they are honoring their unique cultural background, not trying to force them into some preconceived mold.
Exactly. And that means C, avoiding discussions about cultural differences is also not the answer.
Right. We can't just pretend those differences don't exist.
Open and respectful communication about culture is essential. It's about acknowledging those differences, exploring how they might be impacting the client's life, and adapting our therapeutic techniques to be culturally sensitive and relevant.
And what about promoting assimilation into the dominant culture?
That's definitely not the goal of multicultural counseling. We want to honor and celebrate diversity, not erase someone's cultural identity.
It's not about forcing people to conform to one specific way of being.
Exactly. It's about helping clients navigate the complexities of living in a multicultural society while staying true to their own values and traditions. Finding that balance.
So the answer to what is the primary focus of multicultural counseling is?
The answer is B. Addressing clients' cultural identities and experiences. It's about weaving cultural understanding into the very fabric of the therapeutic relationship.
Creating a space where clients feel seen, heard, and respected for who they are.
Exactly.
Okay, next up, question 157. This one delves into ethics. It asks, which ethical principle involves ensuring fairness and equal treatment for all clients?
Ethics, the foundation of our profession.
So important.
Yeah.
Here are the choices. A, beneficence. B, justice. C, non-maleficence. D, autonomy. So these ethical principles, they're like our guiding stars as counselors, right?
Absolutely. They help us navigate those tricky situations and make decisions that are in the best interests of our clients.
So beneficence, that's about doing good, right?
Yeah. Acting in the client's best interest, promoting their well-being, using our knowledge and skills to help them, not to harm them.
Okay, and C, non-maleficence, that goes hand in hand with beneficence.
Right. It's the do no harm principle. Being mindful of the potential risks of our interventions and taking steps to protect our clients from any negative consequences.
Beneficence is like the proactive side, do good, and non-maleficence is the preventative side, do no harm.
A good way to think about it.
Okay, D, autonomy. That one's about respecting the client's right to make their own choices.
Exactly. Even if those choices aren't what we might personally recommend.
Right. It's about empowering clients to be active participants in their own care, not passive recipients.
Honoring their agency and their right to make decisions about their own lives.
Okay, and then there's B, justice.
Justice is all about fairness equity, ensuring that all clients have equal access to services and are treated fairly, regardless of their background, their circumstances, or their ability to pay.
So it's about recognizing and addressing those systemic barriers that might prevent certain groups from receiving equitable care.
Exactly. And advocating for social justice, working to create a more just and equitable world for all.
I see the connection now. So the answer to which ethical principle involves ensuring fairness and equal treatment for all clients is?
The answer is B, justice. It's about holding ourselves and the systems we work in accountable for creating a more equitable mental health system for everyone.
Justice, such a powerful concept.
Oh.
All right, let's revisit developmental psychology with question 158. It's all about Erikson and his stages. In Erikson's psychosocial stages, what is the primary conflict during adolescence?
Erikson, I love his work. It really captures those key challenges we face at different points in our lives.
Here are the choices. A, intimacy versus isolation. B, industry versus inferiority. C, identity versus role confusion. D, autonomy versus shame and doubt. So Erikson's theory is like a roadmap of human development.
A series of quests we need to conquer to level up in the game of life.
I love that analogy.
And remember, these conflicts never really go away completely, but they become particularly important at certain stages, like D, autonomy versus shame and doubt. That's the big one for toddlers.
Right, they're all about me do it.
Exactly, asserting their independence, exploring the world, testing their limits.
And then B, industry versus inferiority.
Yeah.
That comes up during elementary school.
Right. When kids are focused on learning new skills, mastering academic tasks, comparing themselves to their peers.
It's about feeling competent and successful, not like they're falling behind.
And then A, intimacy versus isolation. That's a major theme in young adulthood.
As people start forming those deep, meaningful connections.
Exactly. Romantic relationships, close friendships, a sense of belonging to a community.
It's about finding those connections that make life feel richer and more fulfilling.
Exactly. Now, see, identity versus role confusion, this is the heart of adolescence. That's when you're really trying to figure out, who am I? What do I believe in? What's my place in the world?
It's a time of intense self-exploration and experimentation, trying on different roles, values, beliefs, identities, trying to piece it all together.
It can be a really confusing time, full of uncertainty.
Absolutely. So going back to our question, in Erikson's psychosocial stages, what is the primary conflict during adolescence? The answer is
C, identity versus role confusion. That quest for self-definition, that exploration of values and beliefs, that experimentation with different roles and identities.
so important for developing a strong sense of self.
It really is.
Okay, let's tackle another therapy approach. Question 159 asks, what is a key characteristic of Gestalt therapy?
Gestalt therapy, it's all about being present and aware.
Here are your options. A. Focus on resolving unconscious conflicts. B. Emphasis on present moment awareness and personal responsibility. C. Use of structured cognitive techniques. D. Exploration of cultural identity. What do you think about Gestalt therapy?
It's all about bringing things into focus right here, right now. It's about helping clients become more present, more mindful of their thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations.
So it's about getting out of our heads and into our body.
Exactly. Noticing what's happening within us and around us.
And it's also about taking responsibility for our choices and actions.
Right. Not blaming others or dwelling on what ifs.
So that definitely connects to B, emphasis on present moment awareness and personal responsibility.
Exactly. And A, focus on resolving unconscious conflicts. That's more like psychoanalysis.
Right. Gestalt therapy acknowledges the influence of the past, but it's not about digging into those deep unconscious conflicts.
And what about C, use of structured cognitive techniques?
That's more like CBT.
Exactly. Gestalt therapy is less about structured techniques and more about creating those aha moments of insight through experiments and experiences within the therapy setting.
And D, exploration of cultural identity.
Important, but not the central focus of Gestalt therapy.
So the answer to what is a key characteristic of Gestalt therapy is...
The answer is B, emphasis on present moment awareness and personal responsibility. It's about becoming more aware of what we're experiencing and choosing how we respond right here, right now.
Present moment awareness. Such a valuable skill for both clients and therapists.
Absolutely.
Okay, last question in this set. It's about assessment. Question 160 asks, which type of validity measures how well a test predicts future outcomes?
Validity is all about whether a test actually measures what it's supposed to measure.
Here are our choices. A, content validity. B, face validity. C, criterion validity. D, construct validity.
It's like checking the accuracy of a measuring tool. You wouldn't use a ruler to measure temperature, right?
Haha, good point.
Each type of validity is like a different way of ensuring that the tool is fit for its purpose.
So let's start with a content validity. What's that one about?
Content validity is about whether the test items cover the full scope of what it's supposed to measure.
So if you were studying for the NCE and a practice test only covered one module, it wouldn't have good content validity.
Exactly. It wouldn't be giving you a full picture of the knowledge and skills needed for the exam.
Okay, what about B, face validity?
Face validity is about whether the test appears at face value to be measuring what it's supposed to.
So like first impressions.
Exactly. If you were taking a test about anxiety and the questions were all about your favorite ice cream flavors, that wouldn't have good face validity.
That's a good one. It wouldn't seem relevant at all.
Right. And then D, construct validity.
That one always seemed a bit tricky.
Construct validity is about whether the test aligns with the underlying theoretical constructs it's supposed to be tapping into. For example, if a test claims to measure intelligence, it should align with our theoretical understanding of what intelligence actually is, including things like problem-solving skills, verbal fluency, and spatial reasoning.
Okay, so it's about matching the test to the theory.
Exactly. It's about making sure the test is actually measuring what it claims to be measuring at a deeper level.
Okay, and that leaves us with C, criterion validity.
Criterion validity is all about prediction. It's asking, does this test accurately predict future outcomes?
So if a college entrance exam is supposed to predict college success, and students who score high in the exam actually do perform better in college, then it has good criterion validity.
Exactly. The test is demonstrating its ability to forecast real-world outcomes.
So the answer to which type of validity measures how well a test predicts future outcomes is?
The answer is C, criterion validity, all about prediction.
Okay, wow, we did it 10 questions down.
We did it! I covered so much ground.
I know, I feel like my brain is full.
Mine too, but in a good way.
Absolutely. It's amazing to think about how all of these concepts connect to our work as counselors.
Right. From understanding human development to recognizing those cognitive biases to navigating ethical dilemmas, it's all so important.
It's like we're building this incredible toolbox of knowledge and skills.
Exactly. And the more we learn and practice, the more effective we'll be in helping our clients.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel a lot more confident about the NCE now.
Me too. This deep dive was definitely a success.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks for joining us on this NCE prep journey. We hope you found it helpful.
And remember, keep studying, keep practicing, keep learning. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You got this.
We believe in you too. Good luck on the exam.
1, 2, 3.
Nice to be in orbit.